What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the GoodeBaker podcast. I'm Nick Baker. Across from me, Shane Good.
Shane Good, what's good?
And we are here to talk to you about some video games. First up, man, you had a big Extra Life live stream this weekend. How did that go?
So 25 hours, a lot of donations, a lot of people came out and said hi, a lot of crazy stuff. It was really well. I ended up playing. We did like 5.5 to 6 hours of D&D.
Right.
We
D&D?
did.
Wow, I didn't realize you guys did that. I haven't had internet all weekend, so
Yeah.
this is all news to me too, guys. So.
We ended up we do a D&D. It's a little different than like normal D&D or traditional. It's called Monster of the Week. So we did. It's the same idea, like the principles of an RPG. It's just it's a little simpler mechanics. We have a couple people that we play with that have never played D&D before, and this was a easier way to get them into it. So this is our
legit.
Yeah, this is our second year doing the D&D for Extra Life. Same characters, same world. So that was really fun.
So you kept it from last year as well.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So we kept it going, same characters. Actually, I lost my leg due to
in this session.
In the session before this.
Is it archived at all?
Archived? Not a ton of it.
No. Okay.
Some of it is, some of it isn't. We did it on the books to start, and then we had to do it off the books because we had to do it through Discord and do it through like different means. So this particular session was on the books.
Oh, sweet.
So we did that. Ended up playing a lot of different games. It turns out this is something I found out about Escape from Tarkov. That's really important for all those people out there that I know are playing Escape from Tarkov. Which, by the way, that new patch, incredibly good, super good. The guns are awesome. The gameplay. The more I play that game, the more just intense battles you just have. Just straight out firefights of no bullshit, no healing. You got shot in the leg, and now your guy's bleeding out, and you have 10 seconds to make it to the fucking door before you just like get killed, and you lose all your shit. Man. Super crazy. Also, wasn't sure. Started playing with my buddy Corbin. Didn't realize, I kind of had an idea. Game's pretty realistic. There's probably friendly fire. Not gonna test it. So we were in a house.
I can see where this is going.
We were in the dorms in customs. He walked around the corner. He was like, "I'm coming upstairs." I was like, "Okay." He had taken his flashlight off his shotgun earlier in the game. I assumed he still had his flashlight on. Somebody came around the corner. Their shotgun clearly had a flashlight on it. Put one in their head. Silence. Corbin, where'd you go? There's a guy up here. There's this guy. Silence.
Bro, you still alive? Oh no! you clear out his stuff. You're like,
he had a dorm key. I killed him. So for the people that don't know, there's friendly fire in that game, and let me tell you, you don't deal decreased damage just because they're on a team with you.
Oh man. So I can just imagine that in like a Battlefield game, just getting. I mean, there's a hardcore. Well, is there a new hardcore mode on 5? Do you know that?
I don't.
Yeah. Well, in hardcore modes before, you could literally just run up to your friends and pop them, and game over. And oh god, what? Talk about the worst.
I mean, it was it. Other than that one mishap, did great in games most of the night. Played somewheres probably around 20 games of League of Legends.
Sweet.
The first 15 were first 14 were really good, and then the last 7-ish, I was just too tired but couldn't do anything else because of my hand that would keep me awake. I lost all of those games.
Yeah,
just devastating.
I can just
losses.
imagine, in the wee hours of the morning, your gameplay just starts to get worse and worse and worse and worse.
Oh,
and obviously with your hand, you can't really do much of the lighter fare of gaming. Well, you could have played Eve, I guess.
I could have.
Was that a thought?
I let my Eve subscription lapse because because of like all the new stuff that's coming out. Me trying to get my rank in League of Legends because the season ends in 20 days.
Makes sense.
Escape from Tarkov, picking that up, playing. Like just because of like the different things, I just kind of let that lapse because I wasn't gonna get my money's worth playing it right now. But enough about me.
Dude, I mean,
about you?
I can't talk enough about that Extra Life stuff. I would have loved to have gotten involved. Obviously, like I said, my internet is complete shit. So even if I wanted to, it would have been tough. But what I have been playing
next year, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Hopefully, this is like a bigger thing, so we can get this whole podcast thing involved, and maybe some other people can hop on, and it can be a special, and we can do. That's down the road.
Sounds like fun to me.
That's a lot of thinking. But what I've been playing is The Outer Worlds. Well,
okay.
I've been playing it sort of.
Is it out of this world?
It's out of this world in some aspects. It's interesting what they're trying to do with such a small team at Obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
So my impression of the game is from the very start of it, it's very much like 1-for-1 Fallout.
Okay.
And you're playing a Fallout game, whether it has the title on the front of the box or not.
Okay.
Fallout. So you
Fallout 76 or Fallout 3?
Not Fallout 76. Definitely
like
not
Fallout
Fallout 76 because it's not buggy and it's not. I mean, there's like some hitches, not even performance hitches. It's more of like. Body clipping sometimes, how Fallout games have like bodies will clip through
a lot of physics.
Some physics problems, but other than that, it's really sound as far as that goes. It's just the story leaves a little bit to be desired. I think that what they're trying to go for is this space epic with some like kind of off the cuff humor and just really down to earth like simplicity as far as. Here's your gear. Your gear goes up in score, and that it gets it better each time. But now you're finding similarly leveled weapons going throughout the game, and you're like, well, I mean, this weapon's the same as this weapon. It doesn't do any more damage or anything, and it's just a level. I don't understand that part of the game yet, but maybe that's just something that comes down the line. But as far as the story aspects go, I think that was where I was most disappointed because I thought initially, well. Yeah, great. Obsidian, Fallout New Vegas. These guys know how to
they know how to write
together
story.
Like interesting like concept on a story. Like in New Vegas, you're this delivery guy that gets beamed in the head and somehow survive. You get taken out of your grave by this doctor and he saves your life. And it's kind of almost a similar aspect in this game where you start, light spoilers, you're in a space station like ship. I think it's called Hope, and you've been put into stasis, and you're waiting, or you're being shipped to a certain part of the world to start a new colony. Okay. So, somehow in the process of you getting to that place, you gets your ship loses power or something like that, or somebody triggers something to go wrong. That's kind of what you're trying to figure out, the mystery of all that's happened to the Hope. And you're the only survivor from that ship that gets saved and taken off, and that's kind of where it all starts with the Phineas character, the kind of Doc Brown looking doctor or whatever. He comes, he saves you, he shoots you down to where you're going to meet this guy to further the quest along. Funnily enough, your pod crashes onto the top of this guy. You crush him. You kill this guy. You have no idea. So you have to go into the town. You have to figure out how to get a power source for your ship, and that's where you're left at the beginning of this game. And,
interesting.
It's fun in a lot of ways, but the combat is not where it's fun. And
that was going to be my next question.
It's another a flaw of these types of games where they don't go all the way with a first-person shooter. They kind of pull it back just to, I don't know, focus more on the RPG aspects where those aren't really fleshed out very well. So they're trying to do a jack of all trades thing, and they're really a master of none at this point because they have the combat and it's kind of stiff. You can't vault or anything like that. Like
is it first person or third?
It's first person, and there's no option to switch to third like there is in the new Fallouts and or I guess that's been the 3D Fallouts thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say
just do that, but yeah, no, you can't switch to third person view. That's kind of a bummer because you get all these really cool looking spacesuits that you put on, and you can't really see them unless you're doing some sort of special like critical hit or something like it to the T. Fallout, like it'll slow everything down, and you'll see your guy, and he'll fire a shot, and that bullet will go, and you'll see that bullet hit your enemy, and it'll disintegrate him or it'll explode, and it's exactly the same. But in a lot of ways, it kind of lost the soul of what you would expect from a Fallout game, where you're kind of going through this drab environment, and then you find this character that has like this crazy backstory and this weird hut in the middle of nowhere. But this game kind of does the opposite thing, where everything's kind of more compact on these smaller sections of the map, what they call planets there. So you're going to different planets, but it's just pretty much like the map is scissored up into a bunch of different...
Yeah, so it's like tile map.
Yeah. So, I mean, just surface level, it's okay. You know, it's something if you're really interested in those types of RPGs, that you're not like a really hardcore first person shooter guy, and you're kind of into choosing your own. It's like a choose your own adventure shooter, and the aesthetic is cool. Like I like the almost like 1940s 50s era vibe future that they're going for. It's almost like this game is what Fallout would have been if there wasn't a nuclear blast.
Maybe it's the same world.
That's the best I can describe it, and it could be. You know, maybe somewhere down the line, Obsidian's like, oh yeah, you know, Outer Worlds, right? They're connected, and you know that alien ship that crashed in Fallout 3 and 4 and whatever, that has something to do with this. And
oh man,
that'd be really cool.
That would be really cool. Maybe it might even patch the story. Would you give it a 68 on Metacritic or a 68 on IGN by any chance? 6.8.
No.
Oh, okay.
But funnily enough, they did kind of throw at Death Stranding.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it was 6.8 on IGN. IGN of all places.
6.8 on IGN.
Man, you think? Well, I mean, I guess from what I heard, was their Australian team that took over the review for this. So maybe that's just a little.
What do Australians know about Kojima?
And you know what I mean? What are you doing? What are you talking about over there? But I'm pretty excited to try that game out. As far as the Outer Worlds go, pick it up if you're feeling like you're not interested in Death Stranding or Star Wars or any of these other games that are coming out right now. But I wouldn't go out and spend the $60 on it if you don't like any of the things that it's trying to do, whether it be the RPG stuff, the light shooter mechanics, the kind of choose your own adventure kind of story that they're going for. Yeah, you know, it's all right. I might pick it up again and see if it hits me different a little bit later down the line. But moving on, to our big topics of the week. Let's start it off with our poll from last week. The last week and a half. I mean, we're meeting on Monday, so we're a little late.
We're a little late, but it's from the extra.
That does not change the fact that a lovely few of you actually responded to one of the questions that we posted on our Facebook page, which was, do you think delays are good or bad for games? And 88% of you guys said that delays are in fact good for the games. And I tend to agree more with that aspect, but 12% said no, and that's what interests me the most.
I actually kind of thought that it was going to be a landslide one direction, which it was, but I didn't think... It is kind of a landslide, but I'm kind of shocked that there were some people saying no at this point with so many games that have benefited from being delayed. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to go too deep on it, but I do really appreciate that everybody's getting back to us on those, and we will have another question at the end of the episode. We're just gonna kind of workshop that because we're figuring things out. We're putting the wheels on while we're rolling, so to speak. But
we got 3 on right now. We'll have 4 by the end.
But the delay thing, I think there are a lot of games that can benefit from it, and maybe what the people that said they're bad for it is maybe some games can spend too long in production, and like Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is a perfect example of a game I think took way too long, and there were way too many iterations, and it suffered for it. I think it suffered for the amount of time that it got delayed. And,
I think it lost a lot of
in that way. I agree with a lot of you, but I agree with more of you, but I agree in that way with the 12% of you guys. But on to bigger and better news.
Yeah.
Because, we're not big or better than Bliz-Con.
True statements. Very true statements.
So I'm going to let you riff on this because you've seen way more of this than I have. But the first one we did both watch right before we aired here is Diablo 4.
Yes.
Officially announced, confirmed. Everybody just lay down your torches and pitchforks. Stop yelling at Blizzard. They're actually doing something that you guys want. Here we go, Diablo 4.
So
the cinematic looks crazy.
It was amazing, dude.
Oh my goodness.
That cinematic, what?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yes. That cinematic. That cinematic was exactly. Not quite as good as the opening sequence of movies. When it does that countdown and it's like all that shit. Not like it's comparable. I think it's comparable.
I'm just curious as to when Blizzard's just going to give up the video game scene and just go straight into CGI movies because these things are just dope. Overwatch, like all the stuff that they do for that, and then this cinematic was just crazy. Like the effects that they had.
Their editors and their content creators are insanely good, artists, super gifted,
beautiful. Gruesome too, like gross looking blood. And, it's awfully great looking.
Lilith is like such good design on her as a character, and just like
and the lighting behind her skin at you could see her skeleton as she's being formed from that gate. It's
disgusting,
fucking disgustingly epic.
Loved it.
Love it. So
couple things.
Then there was gameplay.
The gameplay, super excited about it. Looks super clean, super smooth. Open world.
Open world.
Interesting here.
That's something that I'm interested in because before Diablo, I was asking you before that it's just kind of been like tiled map sections, sort of similar to like what you'd expect from like Link's Awakening.
Correct.
Where you're kind of going from map piece to map piece to map piece.
Correct. Now,
is it going to be like the camera will follow your character and the edges are being formed as you're moving? Is that like how the world would be perceived, or is it just going to be?
I believe how it is going to work, and I think it kind of comes place with. I think there's so many pieces that go into this, but to understand the way that the world's like kind of formed, I think you have to understand how the world's formed in World of Warcraft and what they're trying to do with Diablo.
Right.
Because I think legitimately what they're trying to do is they realize that Diablo has such a big following and so many people, and that genre is just so like thirsty for a game like Diablo that fits that build, that they can't keep producing content for it because they're just getting hit from money because the amount of people that already have the game don't make purchases in it. Because there's no microtransactions, there's no
what you're
subscription.
Saying is they want another WoW, and they're trying to.
I think that
put the guns up with Diablo 4.
I think that what we might see, and this is just personal speculation, but I think that it makes really good sense as a business model for them to take the most successful RPG ever created that they have access to, and just kind of like clip, paste. Not necessarily like quite literally, but like with the general business model, an open world, something everybody can participate in. They have a section of the game that allows you to start up, understand it, and it's free. Then you hit a point where you can do a subscription which pays for all the servers, but that's I mean, it sounds bad for people like me and you, but that's so good because that means they're dedicated to creating content for it, and they don't need people to continue to purchase the game for more content to be created. So it really feeds to the people that are really into the game.
Right. So it does kind of beg the question, is it worth Blizzard like bundling like say an EA does for EA Access? Is it worth them being like, all right, you can have a subscription into World of Warcraft if you want, you can have a subscription into Diablo 4's season pass or whatever, and bring that all together, put it,
it's a good question,
a nice little bow on it, call it $15 a month. That's interesting. I changed my screensaver. I was like, what is going on over here? But yeah, I think that would be brilliant.
It really would. I think I don't know, you know, like I said, it's all speculation that I personally have thought about since I've seen all this stuff. There isn't really too many people talking about theories for it that I like were able to find. However, why wouldn't they replicate a business model that is clearly working and clearly is pumping out a ridiculous amount of money, and the community is super happy, and like, I mean, they have all the pieces already in front of them. You know what I mean?
It seems like Blizzard has been almost there.
Yeah.
Every time, like very, very close, and then they just get slapped back or something happens to them somehow, and they just get scooted all the way back to start, and they have to re-earn all that trust that they got. Like when Overwatch first came out, people were in love with them. Like,
dude, it was
Overwatch is great. This is the next big thing. Like, what? Wow, who exactly? And like they're moving forward, and then all of a sudden, this like next few years go by, and this whole stuff with the Beijing or
are you talking about what just happened?
The Chinese protests.
Yeah, the Chinese protests. They were trying to protest for like freedom of speech, which isn't a thing in China. However, one of the big like streamer players who was doing an interview on some gameplay made a political statement representing his team, in which case he was banned by Blizzard at request of the government, the Chinese government.
Right.
Because it did violate their terms and conditions.
It's tough.
It's
tough when you're put in a position like that as a company, but now where we're at with Blizzard and all that said, and I mean, I think people have started to kind of mellow out on that fact, and especially with all the good faith that they're earning with pushing this stuff out. You gotta think, dude, like the week of that stuff, they were like, oh, thank God we have Diablo 4. Like,
dude, if they didn't have Diablo 4, there would have been a riot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and good on you, Blizzard, for really sticking to your guns last year and not blowing your load as far as Diablo 4 goes last year, because if you had done that then and all this stuff happened now,
and then you didn't have Diablo 4 now,
it could have really messed some things up. So I mean, whoever's game planning for Blizzard in that aspect is really seeing the whole field, you know? Yeah,
for sure. Really quick before we jump off Diablo, because I know we're getting that direction. Didn't have a release date. Yet again, pure Shane speculations. Speculations? You know what? We'll fly with it. We'll fly with it.
Yeah.
But I think that my timing, I had talked about timing. I said I don't think that we'll ever see this until new consoles come out. I think I'm wrong. They have too much gameplay perfectly ironed out with an entire world already created. I think...
Now, did they say anything about console?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because my one thing is that they could do it in the reverse direction. It
doesn't
make a whole lot of like financial sense, because consoles
sell more.
Yeah, exactly.
If they just
sell something on PS4 and Xbox. I mean, even Switch now, that base is ridiculous. I don't think Diablo 4 is coming to Switch.
I do.
You think it's coming to Switch, and
Diablo 3 is already on Switch, and it's super popular.
You look at the fidelity that they have in this new gameplay. I don't know if the Switch is up to snuff. But that's another podcast.
That is another podcast.
I think that if they can make the most money by selling it to consoles like right out of the gate,
yes.
That's obvious. But if they just release it at first to PC and then wait for the new consoles, maybe that could be a way that they work around like getting it out earlier for the people that want it. But I think that they're probably going to use the excuse like, oh, well, these new consoles are coming out, so we're just going to release it 2021.
Here's why I think that they're going to do it before the new consoles. They're not going to release it. They're going to open a public beta. And in a public beta, you will be able to purchase opt-in, and you will be part of an open beta test, which will probably open and close fairly consistently. And I think that you might see that on current gen console. It might be a game that crosses both consoles. So it might be a PS4, PS5 game. You know what I mean? So it can release now, but it doesn't fully release until then.
Yeah, so I could see that.
Yeah.
Like, there have been a lot of games like, but with a big AAA
Diablo. That's the thing. If they do a subscription-based model, it won't matter. A subscription-based model means
it's true.
You pay for the base game once, and then when they add new content, your subscriptions go way the hell up until people beat the content, and then it goes way the hell down, and rinse and repeat. So if you look at it and from that point, the first piece of it, everybody would buy the game. It'll go down.
I think that they could have maybe a little bit more success in that avenue if they did something more along the lines of what Destiny 2 is doing with, like we were talking about before, with their new light.
Yo.
They have the free version of Destiny 2 ready to go. And you can download that, play that right now. But there's all these gates that you can have immediately lifted if you want to pay for the full version of the game, which now includes all the expansions, all that shit, all combined together. What Diablo has the advantage of in this time is they haven't released their game yet, so they can take all of those notes that Destiny 2 is fucked over this whole what, couple of years, 2.5 years.
It's 2.5 years. Something like that. 2017.
Along those lines. They can take all of that experience that they've gained and use that in their launch, and if they put out, say, what you're saying, like a beta version of this game for nothing. They just open it up to everybody and they take all that feedback. And all right, maybe you don't keep your progress or whatever.
Right.
That would be a bummer. But at
they
the
do
same
that with
time,
now with
if they
Diablo
let you
3.
play the game and it's fully fleshed out as we've seen, the gameplay looks pretty great.
Yeah, it does.
Even if it's, say, just those three classes that they showed gameplay of, the Barbarian, Druid, and Spellcaster.
Wizard.
Okay. If they just have those, I think that'd be a big step in the right direction, even if they don't release in the year 2020. If they just throw that beta out, September of this year. They're like, all right, September, Diablo 4 is ready to go, at E3. They're like, we're going to have a beta starting September. We're opening it up. And we're going to go through the whole fall, middle of winter, and then we're going to release in, January, February. That makes a lot of sense to me. That sounds
for sure.
really right for me. But they could also do it in the way that you're talking about, release the whole thing and kind of have the people that paid the money up front or pre-ordered or whatever, they have the full lot of everything.
Yeah.
And the people that are maybe paying monthly have some sort of, I don't know how it would work, but I'm excited to see more about Diablo 4 for sure, and what they're going to do as far as marketing this along with their other titles, which we're going to talk about. Overwatch 2 was also revealed.
Yes.
And this is a big one. I
played Overwatch. I've played 5 or 6 seasons and then either gold or platinum those seasons.
So you have a little bit of experience. I've just seen what I've seen from watching esports and whatever, so I know a little bit, but not a lot. What are they bringing new here?
So what they're bringing new is story. 35 characters confirmed into the game. All the current characters will have a new look. Keyword look. They're not changing their abilities, which is interesting to me.
I think that's wise, given the amount of, like I said, esports pull that they have. Like, all right, we don't want to change the characters that are fundamental about Overwatch, but we want to add some things that maybe change the meta so that maybe down the line we can be like, oh, well, maybe we'll take this thing and somebody will notice because they're not as hardcore meta in that way, I guess.
Right. It brings new people to meta and different stuff like that.
Right.
And those patches always are usually highly anticipated for people that truly enjoy those particular characters but can't play because they're in a higher elo and they're just not in meta. Unfortunately, the higher elo you get, the more of a meta slave you usually become due to the fact that there's a reason why it's in meta.
I mean, it's just those games that are like another great example is Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
It's another one of those games you jump in there, you're like, all right, you're probably going to be this position in our team because you kind of suck, you're new. It's similar to Overwatch where you're like, all right, so now you're going to be the support because if you go out there and try to be like front lines, you're going to get wrecked. But you do have a suitable role in being in the back end and like kind of healing or whatever you're doing there. It's an interesting game in that aspect. But
it is, and now they changed it up a little bit as well. They now allow you to select what role you want to be part of.
Right, so the queue is role-based, right?
Yeah, the queue is now role-based. But funny enough, what they're bringing to the table has nothing to do with PvP. It actually is literally like 180 degrees, like fucking just full force the other direction, Running Man style. Which
I think is smart because they have pretty much nailed PvP. Like, it's arena, like you go in there, you play your matches, you're in, you're out, and there you go.
Yep. And
where they were severely lacking, and I think that people were hungry for it. Is the PvE aspect and the story aspect is that you see all these great things like we were talking about before. The cinematics are always so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they tell such a vivid story, and they're almost Pixar-esque in that way.
Yeah. Diablo, yet again. Fantastic cinematics.
Yeah.
Expect the same from Overwatch too.
But
but I mean,
fucking lost my.
Oh, I'm sorry. I screwed you up. It was me.
No worries, dude. But I think that going with a story mode is definitely the right direction for them because people are so invested in those characters and they want to see how that would play out in an actual structured, written story rather than in these multiplayer matches where you're like, oh well, they have quips and whatever that they say. But there's no real story here.
And I think that what people want is a story when it comes to that type of stuff because people have said it, but also like they've tried so hard to give these characters like little things, little extra like little pieces, like little backgrounds, and people love it and they want more of it, but there just isn't a place for it in PvP because I'm really connected to this character, but every time I play this character I lose. Guess I'm not going to play Doomfist.
It's like, damn, I love him so much.
Yeah.
And, I feel the same way about, playing Battlefield. It's like, you go
some
in
guns,
as, some guns, but even some classes, like support class, sometimes it's really hard to play unless you're playing with a shotgun or something like that.
I didn't know you could play it without a shotgun.
Exactly. There's new ways to play every day, but when you go in there with an LMG, sometimes you're at a disadvantage depending on what map you're on.
Yeah.
Just because there's not a lot of places to bipod up, and some of those weapons require bipods, or you're just swinging it around like a dick, and you're like, just going crazy out there, and it's a bummer that I'm not necessarily good at sniping, but I sometimes go in there with a sniper and I get my ass wrecked. And
sniping's. I do love sniping. It's my jam, but that game it's actually pretty difficult to snipe in. Call back to Escape from Tarkov. Think I could play any shooter now with confidence after playing Tarkov, but Battlefield on console sniping wise is just. It feels so bad.
You gotta. It's like such a muscle memory thing.
Yeah, you have to flick everything.
Yeah, it's like flick shots, because you have to be so quick because the glint from your scope.
Yeah.
Again, another podcast. Overwatch 2 is exciting for a lot of people. Maybe not so much us because we're not big Overwatch people, but I wanted to throw it in there just because it's a highlight, obviously, for Bliz-Con, and as well as World of Warcraft and Hearthstone. Let's talk about those two real quick. Hearthstone.
All right, Hearthstone. I believe it was called the Year of the Dragon. Is kind of like their Hearthstone. That's their kick this season. So, essentially what they're doing is they're adding new dragon packs and they're adding expansion packs for Dragon Base, which I didn't watch too much about it. I read a little bit about it. Essentially what they're doing is they're going to change up the current meta, what's strong, with these new dragon packs. I don't really know what that means as I don't play Hearthstone. So that's kind of like, if you like Hearthstone, I'd look into it. If you don't like Hearthstone, just ignore me.
Right.
The next kind of...
What were you saying?
Yeah, I don't know. They are coming to the auto battler scene, though.
Right.
So we are getting a Battlegrounds from Hearthstone.
So what you're saying is Hearthstone is now PUBG?
Correct.
Yeah, that's great. So 99 wizards drop into an island.
Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Yikes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So just like all of the other auto battlers, it feels really cookie cutter. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's literally 8 people versus 8 people using the characters of Hearthstone, and they all fight, and the last man standing wins, and you gain LP, and you go up in ranks, and that's the game.
People love to see numbers go up, man. That's the new thing.
I know. I'm curious to see how they balance a difference. So, like, League of Legends has different items, and those items do different things, and it makes stats go... Like, they kind of add your own customization to add another layer. I'm interested to see if Hearthstone adds another layer, or if Hearthstone takes away a layer, or if Hearthstone just fucking flops on its belly. Like, I'm just curious. I probably will play that, just because I really love the genre, even though it is probably the same exact thing. It's a fun genre for me, and I can play it with one hand. Open beta comes out November 14th, so check that out.
Yeah, that's pretty soon.
And then there's Shadowlands. Yep, Shadowlands.
The new WoW expansion.
Yeah, I literally know nothing about it.
It's hard. I'm hard pressed to really remember much of anything from my WoW campaign, other than the fact that I really, really wanted a cheetah pet. Like, really bad.
Yeah.
Like when I played, it was like the very first like basic dwarven hunter.
Yep.
I get in there and I'm like, man, I see all the upgrades and I see that pet and I'm like, oh fuck, dude, level 20, let's go. let's grind this shit out. And then you got to level 20 and they were like, all right, now you need to pay. And I'm like, fuck you guys, you knew I was looking at that cheetah pet. You fucking took it from me, didn't you? But yeah, Shadowlands new expansion for WoW.
Yeah,
good for you guys.
Keeping
it fucking rolling, cause damn. Man, that's just an engine that just will not stop.
It's true, man.
That son of a bitch is like 400,000 miles, all highway.
The most played MMORPG in the world to current date, unless Diablo 4 somehow creeps by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the highlights of BlizzCon, and those are our big topics of the week.
Yep.
We're wrapping this up pretty quick, but first we want to remind you to subscribe, like, comment on anything that we post, anywhere. If you just see our name, just yell at us. Something, anything. Good job, bad job, you guys suck. We'll take it all.
We will take it. And I think that leads to our question.
Yeah. So the question is, what is our question?
So the question is, what is our question? But I think the real question is what the question is.
Yeah. Why don't we agree to disagree and say, we'll post on Facebook what our question is. We'll come up with that after the show, and you guys have a great week. Peace.